Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're jumping into a framework that says it's found the ultimate, final boundary of all possible knowledge. And not just for us, but for any superintelligent AI, or even a time traveler from the far, far future. So, to really get this, we're going to start with a pretty wild thought experiment that gets right to the heart of the whole thing.
Okay, so picture this. A being shows up from 100 quintillion years in the future. Their technology is, well, it's basically magic to us. They understand particles that are trillions of layers deeper than quarks. They've mapped out entire cosmologies we can't even begin to dream of. So, what single question could you possibly ask them that they fundamentally could not answer any better than you or I can right now?
Well, the whole idea behind this framework is that, there is a question like that. And the reason they can't answer it has nothing to do with needing a better gadget or more processing power. It's about hitting a fundamental wall, a boundary that they and any created being can never, ever cross.
So, to understand why they hit that wall, we need to get our heads around the core idea here, that reality is basically split into two totally different domains.
First up, you've got what's called Domain D. And you can just think of this as, well, everything. And I mean everything that has some kind of structure. You've got atoms, planets, galaxies, sure, but also the laws of physics, mathematical formulas, computer code, language, even our own thoughts. If you can describe it, measure it, or make a model of it, it's in Domain D.
And then there's Domain G. Now this is the really crucial part. Domain G isn't just some bigger, more powerful piece of the universe. It's not a hidden dimension or some final God particle. The whole idea is that it's the uncreated source of existence itself. It's the reason there's a Domain D at all.
So, this is the key distinction. Think of it like this. Domain D is the map of reality, and that map can get infinitely more detailed. But Domain G, that's the uncreated source that makes the very existence of maps and the territory and even the map makers possible in the first place. One is created and depends on something else. The other is uncreated and absolute.
Let's dig a little deeper with another great thought experiment. Let's call it the ultimate microscope.
Imagine a microscope that just keeps getting better for trillions of years. It zooms right past molecules, atoms, quarks, past anything we can even imagine. It just keeps finding deeper and more fundamental layers of what reality is made of. But here's the catch. Every single new layer it finds, no matter how basic it seems, is still a created structure. It's just a deeper part of the map, a more detailed look into Domain D.
And this is where a really key idea comes in. The divine source, Domain G, isn't at the bottom of the stack of physics. It's not the final, tiniest Lego brick. It's the uncreated source of the Lego bricks, the rules for how they connect, and the very space they exist in.
Okay, so what does this have to do with a super smart AI, or a powerful alien race, or our time traveler? This is where it all starts to get really practical.
This brings us to something called the recursive false deity theorem. And the idea is actually pretty simple. No created being, no matter how much it learns or how powerful it gets, can ever just magically turn into the uncreated source. It's like a character in a video game trying to become the game developer by leveling up. No way, right? They can become super powerful inside the game, but they can never become the source of the game. And this slide, it basically turns that big idea into a super simple checklist. You just ask a few questions. Does it have a body or a form? Yep, that's a created structure in Domain D. Does it use computation? That's a created process. Can you observe it or measure it? Then it's a created object. If it depends on anything else to exist, it's not the ultimate source. End of story.
It all boils down to this powerful metaphor. You just can't build a ladder to Domain G using rungs made from Domain D. It doesn't matter how many rungs you add. More knowledge, more power, more time. You're still just climbing around inside the created world. You can't use the tools of creation to climb out of the category of created.
All right, so where does this leave us? What's the point of all this? For our own search for knowledge, for science, for everything?
See, this way of thinking doesn't try to shut science down. Not at all. It actually celebrates it, but it gives it a clear job description. Go map Domain D. It just clarifies that it can't measure G, because the act of measurement itself is a Domain D thing. It means that no matter how smart an AI gets, it'll always be a created system. And it means the more we learn about the cosmos, the more we should be humbled, realizing that this whole created show isn't self-explanatory.
And you know what's incredible?
This whole complex framework, with all its theorems and thought experiments, can actually be captured by this one famous phrase, when you understand it with this very specific technical meaning.
When it says greater, it doesn't just mean bigger, like a galaxy is bigger than a planet. That's still comparing two things inside domain D. No, it means greater in a whole other sense. It's the source of the very idea of bigness, of comparison, of the scale itself. It's a totally different kind of greatness.
And that brings us to the final, really mind-bending takeaway. We might keep discovering new physics and new laws forever. That map of domain D might just go on and on. But this framework argues that we can, right now, understand the ultimate limit of any map. We've found the final boundary of what any science, any equation, or any created mind can ever do.
And so, that's the fascinating paradox we're left with. If our search for knowledge inside creation can go on forever, what does it mean that we might have already found its absolute and final edge?